Hi and hello, it's Sophia here today, and I've got a new setup. What do you think? Just ignore the little weird double shadow thing going on behind my head. As always, I ask that you watch the end of the video so you can get the full completion of my thoughts and not judge prematurely. I am, after all, just a 14-year-old girl giving my 2 cents out to the world. So, keep that in mind and let's get right into the video. So, as it stands right now, Donald Trump's approval rating is hovering about 42% plus or minus zero point 0.3. So that means it's generally ranging from 41.7 to 42.3. It's fluctuating a lot, but that's what it's been hovered over the past few days. So that's a lot of people. I don't know how many people that is, but it's a lot. So there's a lot of people who clearly support him for some reason. And maybe it's because of his policies, or maybe it's for a different reason. Trump used his main tactic was scaring people, installing fear in that 42%. Of course, his ratings have dipped quite a bit and gone up and down quite a bit, but they've generally stayed the same. And he generally has used the same tactics, lying and scaring people. He scares them of he scares people, makes them he makes people scared of immigrants, China, foreign nations, people who don't look like them, people who don't act like them, people who aren't them. Yeah. He makes people, that's basically sums it up. He makes people scared of others. And that's a very us versus them mentality, which in the growing way of the LGBTQ movement, women's rights movements, that's not going to work. It shouldn't work, but it does. Most of his base is white males, so seeing their power gone. It used to be that, like, especially when Donald Trump was growing up, men could do what they want. And most of the time, if you had enough money, you wouldn't face many repercussions. And now that's changing. It used to be that every woman would marry a man and every man would marry a woman. That's how it used to be. That used to be a fact. And now it's not. And I understand that it's confusing times and a lot of people are trying. I don't care if people like mess up pronouns. I don't care if people do something as mess up on something, just that they try. That's my opinion. Again, just trying. And Donald Trump isn't trying. And these white males, some of them, I'm going to generalize a lot here in this video, if you can't tell already, but he uses fear. He uses fear to control people, to get them to vote and support him unconditionally. That's what he does. He uses fear. And it's a pretty darn good tactic. It's good. He won the presidency with fear. That's how it's good. It worked. It worked great. It worked great. But it worked great. The fear he used against the us versus them mentality, it worked. It got him the presidency, and now he's still using that. If not fear, then what? Simple answer, hope. It's very cliche, and I know, and it's a lot easier said than done, but hope. People respond to hope over fear constantly. The Democratic candidates, if they can appeal to Trump's base, if they can go and say, look, your job has been taken away. But on the whole, jobs are up. But that doesn't matter to them. They don't care that 1,000 jobs were added in last month in their state. They only care that their coal mine shut down. In the town that's existed for generations, and that coal mine that their father and their father's father worked at is shut down. That's what they care about. They don't care about anything else. They care that. And Trump is saying, or their factory shut down. The factory that they has worked at since they were 14, or their father worked at, and their father's father worked at. That's what they care about. They care that their factory Their factory got shut down. That's what they care about. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that's bad because it's valid. The fear of not having an income and what's going to happen to their way of life that's been installed in them their entire life. They've always been told you'll work at that factory until you retire, and your children will work at that factory. And it will go on, and you can pass that down, and they've been told that, and then suddenly that stops because that factory gets moved to China. That's valid. That's fair. That makes sense. I've not been in that position, nor has anyone I know been in that position. But it makes sense. It makes sense why they would be scared and want Trump to have a trade war with China. It makes sense. Even if it does end up negatively impacting them, and even they have to pay, if they have to pay for those tariffs that are implemented, at least they feel better that China is getting a little bit of revenge for ruining their life, or at least they're perceived ruining their life. So, to the Democratic candidates, these people exist. I do not know them. Every one of them has their name. Every one of them has their factory or their coal mine. But they're concerned about their factory. And they're scared of the immigrants coming in. And they're scared of life. They're scared of what their future and their children's future. They're scared that their way of life is dying. And there's nothing they can do about it. So it's easy for them to project and to blame the immigrants and to blame China. It's so easy for them to do it. And then they see Obama, who perceivably for them did nothing for it. And they see Trump, someone who looks like them, someone who says he's been in their position and says that he can fix it. It makes sense that they'd go blind to everything else he's done and just say, and vote for him and support him. It makes sense, and it's a valid reason. So appeal to those people. Those people need someone else than Trump. Because if you can give them, and Trump isn't giving them hope of their job getting back. He's giving them revenge. Or perceived revenge. But if you can, maybe you can't give them their factory back. Maybe you can't give them their coal mine back. But you can give them a new life. That maybe it wasn't what their father or their grandfather had. But maybe you could say, fair, you lost your job. I can't give it back to you, but I can give you something more. I can give you something different. Give them that different thing. And I don't know what that different thing is because I haven't been in that position. And this may sound counterintuitive. And I understand that it's way easier said than done. You can't give them their life back. But you can give them a new one. And I don't know how to convince them that the new one would be better. Or I don't know. It's a big question mark. But that's what those people need. They were fine with Trump promising revenge. And they're fine with the fact that he hasn't actually gotten them revenge or anything. He's only ever hurt them. So if you can not hurt them, or even better yet, help them, it'll be way better than anything that he can do. Donald, any sane person 2020. My neighbor has a sign that says that. And I find it awesome. I know it sounds cliche, but hope is how we can win this election. Hope is how you're going to get that 42% of people to give up on Trump. And even if you don't get 42% of them, if you get one of them, then that will be a success. If you get 1% of them, that will be a success. Even better, 2, 3, 10%. That'll be enough to get you more attention. And I know none of them are probably going to watch this video, but at least someone did. Even if that someone was my mother. So, as cliche as this all was, I thank you for watching to the end. I had to completely refilm this video after 6 days of trying to salvage the old one, but some things just don't work. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. Leave your opinions in the comments down below. Again, I am just a 14-year-old girl. If I got any of these facts incorrect, please correct me, and yeah, I'll pin your comment because I am so sorry. Thank you for watching, and yeah, stay informed. Oh, Elizabeth Warren's quote was, quote, "I trust anyone on the stage more than I trust our current president," end quote, which I find awesome. Let me know your favorite quote of the Democratic debates and who you want of them. My personal favorite is Pete Buttigieg, but just let me know what yours is. Bye.